Thank you for listening to the Matt's Movie Reviews podcast, available on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Stitcher. Also, please follow Matt's Movie Reviews on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Reddit, Instagram, and MeWe. And of course, be sure to visit mattsmoviereviews.net for the latest reviews, top 10 lists, and more. Now, on to the show.
Power. Tyranny. Violence. Europe was engulfed in war, plague, and famine.
Jan?
I need your help.
Catherine.
It's the last chance to help this kingdom. Her uncle is the King of France. You must unite Europe. Kidnapping her is the only way.
We don't kidnap women.
The King's rules are God's rules.
Oh my God.
You're not letting me go?
I need you alive. It will be close. I need to find her. I know who did it. And those soldiers are never gonna find him. Why? Because I trained him. Tomorrow, she will be yours.
You must protect her.
I will do whatever it takes. I will burn every tree in the forest.
He cannot be allowed to get Catherine.
If you choose to fight, you may die. But for your cause, and that is a good death! Who's got?
Kings may be chosen by God, but they still make the mistakes of men.
Hello and welcome to the Matt's Movie Reviews podcast. I am your host, Matthew Pejkovic, and this is episode number 459. Releasing in the US in theaters on September 9 is Medieval, a historical action epic that stars Ben Foster as Jan Zizka, a righteous warrior caught in the middle of a war between two kings that will determine the future of famine-ravaged 15th century Eastern Europe. Also starring Michael Caine and Matthew Good and Sophie Lowe, Medieval is a thrilling action thriller set during a fascinating period of the Holy Roman Empire. And the film also marks the latest directorial debut by Petr Jakl. Peter, I thank you so very much for your time today.
Hello, hi, how are you?
I'm really interested about Jan Zizka in regards to him as a national hero in your country of the Czech Republic. I'm curious, when you are a young man, a young boy, when does the name Jan Zizka become known to you? When do you find out about his exploits, his legend? Is this something that's taught in school, or do you even know about him before that? Is he part of kind of like the air, part of the ether of what is the Czech Republic today?
Yeah, actually, he's like one of 5 the most famous Czech people ever, or 10. So you learn about him at school, but you know about him even before that. And, and there was a film 60 years ago, which was shot, just like, during the communist era. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's somebody who everybody knows. He's got a lot of statues, one of the biggest, bronze statues in the world, which is in Prague. And, also part of the city is named, after him. So yeah, he's huge, and it's just like, he set up some cities, in the Czech Republic, so everybody knows him. And, he was one of 7 never defeated generals of all time, like Genghis Khan or Alexander the Great, so he is real legend, for us.
When it comes to doing a film on a historical figure or a legendary figure, you're making a movie, it's storytelling, and movies are a reflection of history. They're a reflection of life. But you also want to make sure you can have little trinkets of the historical fact in there as well. How do you find the balance in putting that together? Did it take some time to really try to find a balance between who Jan Zizka was as a man and a legend, but also how he is as a character in your movie as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's always challenging, to find, what should be in the movie, what kind of lesson from history it should be. And I think, it's like what I wanted to do here is like, to describe the political situation of those times, describe how poor people felt, how peasants felt, how kings were, and, all, just like what was happening. And also describe as much about, Jan Zizka's, family, and when he grew up. But, I decided to do a short period of time, just like from 1402. And, so I chose his personal story. And, there is a lot of fiction about this, personal story, because we don't know too much about him from this period of time. We know he was mercenary, we know what he, became, to be later on. But, exactly from this time, we also know something what he was doing for the king Wenceslas. But yeah, I wanted to use everything what was, forming him, to become, one of the greatest, military commanders of all times. So I was using all what I found about him, everything what I found is there. And the rest, was created to make it, work in 2 hours.
In portraying Jan on the screen, you need an actor who can really portray an authenticity and intensity, a charisma. And Ben Foster ticks all of those boxes. I remember the first time I saw him was back in 1999 in a movie called Liberty Heights. And ever since then, I've always watched his films. He was one of those actors that if I know he's in a film, I'm going to watch it because I know he's going to put in the work. When it came to choosing an actor for your Jan Zizka, was Ben Foster an actor that you knew will put in the work and will portray the qualities needed to make this man, this legend, come to life on the screen and draw people in? Because you need to believe that he is a leader, that he is a righteous man, and that he is also a intense man as well. And I think Ben Foster does a great job in personifying all of those things.
Yeah, I mean, he also fits into medieval times. Not everybody, not every actor can do that. And I think, just like he is also minimalistic actor. What I wanted for this part, he could be mean, he could be nice, and just like, his arc is, something from, just like badass mercenary fighting for money, changing, to something just, high. And I think, he is absolutely great for that. And also, just like Czech people who, already watched the movie, they feel like this is Jan Zizka, so he kind of resembles to Jan Zizka. Even we don't know exactly how he looked like because we've got some paintings, and all that. But yeah, he feels like that. He feels like one of us. So it was really good.
The Matt's Movie Reviews podcast is brought to you by TeePublic. TeePublic is the world's largest marketplace for independent creators to sell their work on the highest quality merchandise. With over 1.2 million designs, TeePublic is sure to have something you will love. Another great actor you have in the movie is Michael Caine. Of course, he's a legend. I think something a lot of people love about him as a performer is his voice. The first thing we hear in Medieval is Michael Caine talk about the violence and the tyranny. He talks about what's happening politically, religiously in this time in Czech history. And I think for yourself, I mean, I'd imagine him being the first voice, the voice of your film essentially, would have been a thrill, because when it comes to iconic voices in the history of cinema, Michael Caine has to be right up the top of the list.
Absolutely. That was just like, once I got Michael Caine, I couldn't believe it, of course, because, it was just like, it was a dream. And my producing partner, Cassian Elwes, who has produced like over 100 movies, he's British. He told me that he always wanted to work with Michael Caine, but it never happened. And he told me like that it doesn't make sense to send this offer to Michael, because it would be too hard to get him. And suddenly Michael Caine called me and said, "Hey, Peter, hello, Peter, you've got a lovely screenplay and I'm looking forward to work with you." And I was like, what? And I was just, I didn't know what to say. And then once I had him, I was like, basically saying to myself, hey, you have to use his voice, you have to use him as much as possible, because it's Michael Caine. That's why I also started the movie with him and his voice telling us, just the basics of the history. And, he is the main character, who is basically influencing Ben Foster as Jan Zizka. And that's also, just like it. So his part is very important for the movie. So it was great that it was not just a small part. It was like really big part, which was influencing the plot and the main hero.
This film, of course, is an action movie as well. So fight choreography, battle choreography is a very important part. Interesting thing about yourself, Petr, is that you are a practitioner of judo. You have been for a long time. I'm here in Sydney, Australia. You were actually here in 2000 for the Sydney Olympics, and you participated in that. When it comes to doing fight choreography, does your background in martial arts plays a role in how you like to stage the scenes? Does your knowledge of movement, space, anatomy, etc., does that play a role in how you want your fight scenes to be portrayed and be captured on screen?
Yeah, absolutely. This helps me a lot, and I've got like ideas. Just like I always want to be part of the choreography, so I discuss it with stunt coordinators, and we put these fights together. How I wanted them, and I bring ideas, and I just wanted these fights to be very real. I wanted them to be brutal, not too much technique, because once you get into a fight, and whoever knows how it is, you just like mostly forget everything, and everything is happening around you, and you are just fighting like a beast if you want to survive. And that's why I wanted to do. And whatever you have trained and whatever you are using it, because those are instincts, but you are not planning it. You are just fighting. And, those fights were really difficult to do. And I also wanted them to be different, so I was choosing locations which are, different, like, caves. I was doing a lot of underwater fights, which were very difficult to shoot. And you usually spend like minimum two times more time on it, so that was really difficult. And if you want to have one fighter underwater in armor, you have to have one scuba diver for that fighter. So It's just like, very difficult, and hard to imagine it, I cannot hear now.
Can you hear me now?
Now I can.
Yeah, sorry. Your editor for the film is Steven Rosenblum, and he was the editor for two of your favorite movies, Last Samurai and Braveheart. I'd imagine editing this film, being in post-production, and someone like Steven, not only for you as a fan of his work, but also for this kind of movie, this type of genre of film, would have been incredibly beneficial to tap into his brain and figure things out. What was the process like for you editing with Steven? Because, like I said, to be with the editor of some of your favorite films that, influenced you as a filmmaker would have been just a big treat for yourself.
I admire Steven so much, and I'm so glad that he agreed to do it. That it's just like unbelievable. We really became friends, to be friends, because I spent like almost a year with him in one room. I was there every day, editing with, just sitting next to him and editing and listening to him. And we were talking a lot about everything. And his experience is unbelievable because, he made so many great movies, that especially from, medieval movies, fighting movies, so he's got, he feels, how the fights should be, or the story. And, so he helped me really a lot. And he was also, when we were talking about the history, what they did in Braveheart and what was like changed, and what they were changing during the editing, it helped me also a lot because, they also like changed things, and it was like, historically right overall, but of course there were some things which never happened, like Mel Gibson having an affair with a French princess, or some other stuff. And Caine, they were painted blue on the face, and it happened like thousands years before, but it was visually beautiful and great for the movie. So that was like something what they decided to do. So yeah, it's just like it was very helpful for me.
Final question. I came across an article that there's going to be video game adaptations, kind of like based on the medieval movie. So there's a game for the console, there's a game for the PC. I know that you've had experience working on video games as kind of like voice talent and such. Where did the decision come from to kind of like spread out the story of Jan Zizka in video games as well as movies?
Yeah, I mean, there was like, I was, my face was used in another video game, the Kingdom Come Deliverance, which is from the same period of time, and it was very successful. Mm-hmm. And, I thought like, maybe it's a good time, just like to have, our video game, like combination of the movie, which would be edited differently, just like, for the video game, and also, combination with the game. And I started to talk to Michael Caine about it, and I explained him the idea, and he said, yeah, sure, that sounds really cool. So I'm going to ask my grandchildren, what they think about it. And he asked them, they said, yeah, Dad, you have to be there. You have to do it, and he said, yeah, okay, so let's do it. So he's doing it, and he's got his own 3D character. So which is another unbelievable thing. So yeah, so this, and it happened like 4 years ago, when I thought like okay, maybe there's a way how that we could do it, and I started to look for somebody who can do it, for us, with us, and it's happening now. It's going to be released in the first half of the next year, and I've just, so far I'm happy with what we've got.
Awesome. So everyone out there listening, Medieval, September 9 across the theaters in the US. People need to check out this movie. If you love your action adventure in the mold of Braveheart, Gladiator, Kingdom of Heaven, movies like that, you will love what Medieval is. Ben Foster's terrific in the movie. Sophie Lowe, fellow Australian, she's awesome in the film as well. And Petr Jakl, I thank you so very much for your time today. Congratulations with the film. Best of luck. And yeah, man, anytime you want to talk again about any movies in the future, let me know. I'd love to have you on again.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot for inviting me. And it was a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you for watching the Matt's Movie Reviews channel. Please subscribe for more reviews, podcast interviews, and exclusive content. Also, if you would like to request a review and support my work, please join my Patreon via the link in the description below.